Raleigh man convicted of murdering his pregnant wife may soon be getting a new trial. In 2012, a jury found Jason Young guilty of murdering Michelle Young at their home 11 years ago.
Hey guys, my name is Steve, and today we are going to take a look in another horrible case with you. This high-profile case, which sent shockwaves through the nation in the mid-2000s and who makes you see what terrible things humanity is capable of, became a focal point for media scrutiny, keeping the public on edge as they followed the unfolding drama. The gruesome nature of the crime sparked a protracted investigation that, after years of persistent effort, finally led to the apprehension of the perpetrator. However, this journey was fraught with challenges, marked by a lack of a clear motivation and a trail of fragmented evidence. The accused person, seemingly incongruent with the brutality of the crime, left the public grappling with disbelief, struggling to reconcile the image of the individual with the horrific event at hand. Over the course of nearly 6 arduous years, the pieces of the perplexing puzzle gradually fell into place, revealing a narrative that defied initial comprehension. As the case proceeded to trial, the chief investigator, drawing upon his extensive experience, publicly expressed his surprise, emphasizing that in all his years in the field, he had never encountered a case of such peculiar complexity. The courtroom revelations unfolded like chapters in an intense drama, exposing a web of intricate connections, a love triangle, a double betrayal, and an ostensibly disregarded foreboding omen. These elements added layers of depth and complexity to what had initially appeared to be an enigmatic and bewildering tale. The unfolding details painted a portrait of human relationships gone awry, where emotions, betrayals, and ominous signs interwoven to create a narrative that transcended the boundaries of a typical crime story. The public, initially confounded by the apparent incongruities, found themselves drawn into a narrative that challenged their perceptions, leaving them with more questions than answers. The case, beyond being a mere legal proceeding, evolved into a multifaceted tragedy that left an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of the nation. Jason Young, a somewhat enigmatic figure, hails from Brevard, North Carolina. Born in 1974 into an ordinary family, following high school, he pursued higher education at the prestigious State University in Raleigh, the capital of his home state. Upon completing his studies, Jason secured a position as a salesman in a prominent retail chain, where he quickly established himself as a reliable and promising employee. Despite his professional achievements, friends characterized him as capricious and unpredictable in his romantic relationships, earning him a reputation as a womanizer, a label he seemingly wore with pride. Michelle Marie Young, formerly Michelle Pfizer, entered the world in New York in February 1977. Raised alongside her younger sibling Meredith, Michelle shared a close bond with her sister from childhood. Their mother, Linda, devoted ample time to her beloved daughters, offering unwavering support and nurturing their talents. Michelle's interests gravitated towards law and economics since her school years, harboring dreams of dedicating her life to these pursuits. Upon completing high school, she applied to several universities and received a positive response from the capital of North Carolina. The diligent young woman immersed herself in her studies at the Faculty of Economics and Law, ultimately earning a master's degree. Upon obtaining her diploma, Michelle secured a prominent position in a leading accounting firm within the state. As a financially independent and ambitious professional, she marked her 24th birthday with a celebration at a popular city venue alongside close friends and colleagues. During the festive gathering, an unexpected incident occurred when a stranger accidentally knocked a cocktail out of Michelle's hands. Swift to apologize, the courteous individual, Jason Young, promptly replaced the spilled drink. Intrigued by Michelle, Jason engaged her in casual conversation, showcasing humor and charm. By the evening's end, he mustered the courage to ask her out on a date, an invitation Michelle gladly accepted. As their connection deepened, they discovered numerous shared interests, including their alma mater, a common hockey team allegiance, and mutual admiration for a music group. Although Jason had graduated 3 years prior, they found common ground. Their romantic relationship blossomed quickly, but the idea of cohabitation or marriage seemed distant. At the inception of their relationship, Jason still resided with his parents in Brevard, only visiting Michelle in Raleigh on weekends or during work trips to the state capital. However, a pivotal moment arose during one of these encounters when Michelle revealed she was pregnant. A revelation that stunned them both, as neither felt prepared for the prospect of parenthood. The young couple, focused on their careers, were resolutely climbing the corporate ladder and had no immediate plans to start a family. Jason was upfront about this, but after some contemplation, Michelle decided against abortion and chose to keep the baby. Jason, taking a month to reconsider, eventually relocated to Raleigh to be closer to his pregnant girlfriend. After a few more months, the couple officially formalized their relationship. However, it wasn't love or the impending pregnancy that led to this decision. Rather, it was Michelle's lack of health insurance. The financial burden of childbirth prompted them to opt for marriage, providing a practical solution to avoid exorbitant expenses. In the spring of 2004, the couple welcomed their daughter, Cassidy Elizabeth, into the world. Michelle, now a newly married mother, immersed herself in domestic life and familial responsibilities, assisted by her mother and younger sister. Despite initial reservations, Michelle's family accepted Jason, albeit warily, attempting to sidestep conflicts. That same year, the young family, now with a child, moved into their spacious house, situated in a tranquil, well-landscaped part of the city. Michelle's mother, Linda, who frequently visited to assist with household duties, sensed an underlying tension in the family dynamics. Jason's emotional and volatile nature occasionally led to disputes, but Michelle worked tirelessly to reconcile differences, presenting a facade of marital bliss in public. Only to her mother, Linda, did Michelle candidly disclose the true dynamics of what was transpiring within the family. An ominous omen. A foreboding incident occurred when Cassidy, barely 2 years old, an addition was anticipated to the family. Michelle delicately shared the news with her spouse, who responded calmly and appeared content about it. The family then traveled to Brevard by car to personally inform Jason's parents of the impending arrival. During their weekend visit, the couple celebrated the news with relatives, leaving their young daughter in the care of her grandparents for a few hours to enjoy a restaurant outing. As they were driving back home, Jason, behind the wheel, overcorrected and steered off the road into a ravine. While the couple sustained minor abrasions and bruises, their lives were not in jeopardy. Unfortunately, Michelle experienced a miscarriage due to the stress of the accident, causing considerable distress for the young woman. Surprisingly, Jason remained remarkably composed throughout the ordeal. Linda Fisher later referred to the incident as a sinister omen, a warning that went unnoticed at the time. The couple shared a mutual friend from their university days named Michelle Mani, although they hadn't seen each other for a while. In the spring of 2006, just before the accident, Jason accidentally encountered an old acquaintance during a work trip. He informed his wife and together decided to invite Mani for a visit. While Mani willingly accepted, her stay took an unexpected turn as she began airing grievances about her troubled family life and relationship problems with her husband. Simultaneously, she consistently praised Jason, expressing how fortunate Michelle was. Despite the peculiar behavior of their guest, pregnant Michelle didn't perceive any cause for alarm. She genuinely aimed to comfort and support her friend. However, Jason interpreted the situation differently. Having never missed an opportunity to flirt before, this relationship swiftly transcended mere flirtation and friendly support. Jason Young and Michelle Mani began communicating almost daily, arranging secret meetings behind closed doors. Jason consistently justified his frequent absences with business trips, and his wife remained oblivious to any suspicions. In the summer of 2006, Michelle shared the news of her pregnancy once again, but this time Jason's reaction was far from joyful. Confused and sensing a growing emotional distance from her beloved husband,
did there come a time when you learned that she was pregnant?
Yes.
Tell us about that. How did you find that out? What was your reaction?
I remember Michelle coming out and announcing that she was pregnant.
What was your reaction to that?
We were both very shocked. We were both eye-opening, like, whoa. It was, it was a surprise. It wasn't planned, but it was a surprise, but it was a good surprise.
Michelle attributed it to the recent miscarriage. Throughout this period, Jason was preoccupied with strategizing how to sever marital ties with minimal repercussions for himself. In early November, when Michelle was 5 months pregnant, he embarked on another purported business trip, covering a distance of 300 miles in his own car, despite having booked a hotel halfway through the journey. That evening, a pregnant Michelle confided in her best friend about family issues and a recent heated argument with her husband before he left. After the conversation, Michelle went upstairs, tucked her daughter into bed, and fell asleep beside her. Around 10 in the evening, Jason reached the hotel, ostensibly claiming fatigue from the road as he went straight to bed. In reality, he meticulously surveyed entrances, exits, and security camera locations, plotting an undetected exit and return. He was meticulously crafting an ironclad alibi for what he believed would be the perfect crime. In the early morning hours, Jason reached out to Michelle's sister, seeking help. He explained that he intended to gift his wife a piece of jewelry for their anniversary, but had accidentally sent an online store page to their home fax machine. Worried about ruining the surprise, he sought assistance from Meredith, Michelle's sister, who reluctantly agreed despite her reservations about her son-in-law. Upon arriving at her sister's house, Meredith used a secret door in the garage, known only to family members and always left unlocked. The house, however, seemed unusually quiet, with Michelle's belongings in the hallway indicating she hadn't left the premises. A gruesome sight. Upon ascending the stairs, Meredith noticed the bedroom door wide open, yet her calls to her sister and niece went unanswered. Upon entering the room, a horrifying scene met her gaze. Michelle lay on the floor near the bed, her skull fractured, surrounded by a pool of her own blood. The crimson stain extended to the walls, furniture, and tiny bloody footprints marked the area. Tragically, despite any efforts, it was evident that Michelle, pregnant, had succumbed to her injuries hours ago. Distraught, Meredith hurriedly contacted emergency services.
I need an ambulance. It's an emergency.
What address are you at, ma'am?
Birchleaf, 5108 Birchleaf Road. Oh my God.
Problem, tell me exactly what happened.
I think my sister's dead.
Okay, tell me what happened, ma'am.
I have no idea. Oh my God.
What's your name?
Meredith Fisher.
Meredith.
Oh my God.
Meredith, listen to me, please.
Yeah.
Are you with the patient now?
Yes, I'm her daughter. And
Okay,
she's,
how old is the patient?
And there's blood everywhere. She's 28, 29.
You said there's blood everywhere?
Yes.
All right, is she conscious?
No, I don't think so. Should I try to help her?
Listen to me, ma'am.
I'm listening.
Is she breathing?
I don't think so.
Have you checked?
Michelle, she's cold.
Okay.
There's like blood footprints all over the house.
Okay,
With
listen
my
to
daughter,
me.
like her daughter's little footprints. Yeah, there's blood all over the
Okay,
place.
did you say she's cold?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, stay on the phone.
Oh my God. Michelle,
Let's see if you can get her on her back.
I really think she's dead. There's blood in the bed.
I'm gonna get the sheriff's department to pick up on the line with us.
Okay.
Because they're going to need to talk to you about what you're seeing, okay?
However, her attention was drawn to a rustling sound beneath the bed. There, she discovered little Cassidy, unharmed but clearly frightened. The child who had witnessed her mother's death had spent hours by the lifeless body, evident from marks on the floor and the toys she had brought to her mother. Subsequent forensic examination revealed a multitude of bruises, abrasions, and fractures on Michelle's body, indicative of prolonged and brutal assault. Her teeth were knocked out, and her skull had suffered fractures from a blunt, heavy object, a weapon never recovered. A bloody pillow lay beside the body, suggesting suffocation. Curiously, nothing was stolen from the house, signaling that the assailant's sole intent was murder.
So far in the Michelle Young murder case appears to point toward a suspect. However, police aren't ready to make their move. Michelle Young is the pregnant woman found beaten to death in her Wake County home nearly 2 years ago.
Not involved in the case, former prosecutor Kieran Shanahan downplays the fact that investigators have named no suspect and made no arrest nearly 2 years after Michelle Young was bludgeoned to death in her Wake County home. Young's 2-year-old child was found unharmed next to the body. At the same time, Shanahan says the warrants show investigators meticulously building a case around Michelle Young's husband, Jason. Shanahan points to the bloody footprints at the scene, the surveillance video from a Virginia hotel that shows Jason Young coming and going, and the propped open door that eliminated the need for a traceable key card.
Additionally, there were no signs of forced entry, and the locks remained intact, implying that the perpetrator either possessed a key or knew about the secret door, a detail known only to family members. Typically, in such cases, the spouse becomes the prime suspect, but Jason appeared to have a flawless alibi. He asserted that he had checked into his hotel room, remained there until morning, and then proceeded to a scheduled business meeting. A check confirmed his use of the room key card in the evening and morning. However, a detailed investigation uncovered numerous anomalies and inconsistencies. Notably, a hotel employee discovered an open emergency exit propped with a cobblestone, preventing it from slamming shut early in the morning, when the investigators decided to scrutinize the surveillance camera, focused on the door in question to identify the culprit. A startling revelation unfolded. This very camera had been intentionally disabled on the night of the crime, ceasing to record approximately half an hour after Young checked into his hotel room. The peculiarity did not end there. It was discovered that during that night, an individual bearing a resemblance to Jason was seen refueling at a station between the hotel and the crime scene. Yet, when asked to provide identification, he declined, paying in cash and hastily departing without waiting for change. The gas station attendant, during the inquest, identified the individual as Jason Young, but Young adamantly denied any involvement, insisting he had spent the night in his hotel room. Another anomaly emerged in the form of Young's extensive calls to Michelle Money on the day preceding the tragedy. More than 24 calls were made, and in the early hours, he made an additional 5 calls to his mistress, each lasting no more than 15 seconds. This pattern suggested a state of panic, raising suspicions, especially since these calls occurred outside the hotel where Young claimed to have been all night. Moreover, he was tardy for a scheduled business meeting with partners and appeared somewhat disoriented. However, despite this compelling evidence, either individually or collectively, it failed to conclusively establish that Young had committed the brutal murder of his pregnant wife. For nearly 3 years, Jason continued his life seemingly unaffected, even gaining custody of his young daughter, a significant blow to the relatives of his deceased wife. During this period, he ceased concealing his relationship with Monty, who had once been friends with the murdered Michelle, further fueling suspicions that Young was the perpetrator. Jason was only arrested at the end of 2009. Unfortunately, despite the substantial evidence pointing to his guilt, the trial faltered as the jury failed to reach a consensus, leaving the case unresolved. However, in 2012, the case saw a reopening with the accumulation of additional evidence and the testimony of witnesses who had spotted Jason Young outside the hotel on the night of the murder at various locations. Notably, his conspicuous white car was observed parked near his own house in an unlit lot on the night of the crime. The case also incorporated the testimony of a child psychologist who recounted unsettling doll play by little Cassidy. In this play, the child depicted her father spanking her mother, who remained motionless on the floor. Manny, taking the stand as a witness during the trial, admitted to an extramarital affair with Jason but rationalized it by claiming his profound dissatisfaction in his family life, a sentiment he had expressed to others. Another former mistress of the defendant confessed her fear of his episodes of anger when he lost control and resorted to physical violence.
His body language, something in him was changing. Something inside him snapped. He physically came after me to get the ring off of me. He grabbed me by the arms and threw me down onto the bed, but with such force that it stunned me. And he grabbed my arms so tightly that it ended up leaving bruises in the shapes of his fingers.
Following an extended trial, Jason Young was ultimately found guilty of brutally assaulting his pregnant wife.
Ms. Rackness, you have reported your verdict as follows: we, the jury, by unanimous verdict, find the defendant Jason Lynn Young to be guilty of first-degree murder of Michelle Fisher Young. Is that correct? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if that was the unanimous verdict of this jury of guilty of murder in the first degree, and your individual verdict of guilty of murder in the first degree, would you indicate that, please, by raising your hand? Let the record show that all 12 jurors so indicated. The court therefore accepts the verdict and orders that it be recorded.
A man convicted of murdering his pregnant wife may soon be getting a new trial. In 2012, a jury found Jason Young guilty of murdering Michelle Young at their home 11 years ago.
He received a life sentence with no possibility of parole. In 2014, the convicted Jason pursued his first appeal, which was subsequently denied. In 2018, he sought a review of his case, but the State Court of Appeals panel once again rejected his request. Cassidy found herself virtually orphaned, her mother murdered, and her father incarcerated for the crime. She is currently being raised by her aunt and maternal grandparents. So this is it. Thanks for watching. This was Steve with you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more videos like this.